Hi, in this video you will learn how to scrape the comments of a Reddit post, Reddit submission via Python. So what is Reddit? Reddit is this website and it consists of subreddits. So subreddits are like forums and each forum has a particular interest. For example, this one here is reddit.com/r/cats. This is a cats subreddit where people talk about cats and post cats videos and so on. And you have all sort of subreddits for every possible thing you can imagine on Reddit. So everyone can post, everyone can comment, and everyone can use Python to do those things. So to post and comment and scrape comments from these posts and so on. So in this video we're going to scrape the comments of this post here, for example. You can pick any post that you like. So just go to Reddit. So that's the home page, for example, and you see different ones. If you click on one, that should take you to that post. So if I click on this cat post, it should take me to that post. So to access Reddit via Python, you need to create an app. To do that, you should go to your profile here, select it, and then go to user settings. Then go to safety and privacy and scroll down and you should see here manage third-party app authorization. If you don't see that, you can also go directly to this page by entering reddit.com/prefs/apps. But you should create a Reddit account first, and then you should go to this page. So if you scroll down here, you see this button, create another app. So I'm going to click on that, give a name to the app, automate with Python 2, for example, and click on script. The description is optional, so is the about URL. For redirect URL, just write something like https://example.com and press on create app. So that is the app I just created, and now I have this idea of the app, the secret of the app, and we should use them in Python. So let's go back to our Python script and import Pro. So Pro is a Python third-party library used to allow us accessing the Reddit website. So first of all, we should create a Reddit instance using pro.reddit. So that is a class now. The first argument you need to give is the user agent. Now this is some information that your script will send to the Reddit server. And this is not really important, so you can just write something like true. What is important is the client ID, which comes as a string, and you can get it in your Reddit app that you created. So that one, under personal use script, that is the text. You want to copy it and paste it in here. Then you need to give a client secret. Now this is getting a long line, so I'm going to enter here to split it in the next line. The client secret is again the string, this one. Copy that, place it there. Your Reddit username, in my case, this is this one in here, automate with Python. And it's also reflected in here. So automate with Python. And the password of your Reddit account. So this is just a throwaway account that I created for this app. So these data will not work if you try them, because I'm going to delete the app and also change the password. So please create your own account. So username and password is there, and therefore we do have this Reddit instance now. So that is how you create a Reddit instance. I just shifted these a bit to the right to make them more visually appealing. So what is our purpose in this video? Our purpose is to get the comments of a post. So we need to give our Python program the URL of a post as a string. So that post was, just pick whatever post you like, so this one, and you want to, yeah, be inside that post. So if you see this view with comments under the post, that means you are in that post page or submission. It's also called a submission. So you want to copy that URL, paste it there, and then create a post variable, reddit.submission. And this gets a URL argument which is equal to the URL variable. So that one in there. Now that we have a post, if you want to check what we have so far, you can print it out and see if things are working. So we don't get an error, however, we don't see any content either. That's just the idea of the post. And if you want to get the text, the body of the post, you want to apply self text and run. Now be aware that for posts that don't have text, you're going to get that empty string. So for example, this only has a photo, a picture. So if you find a post with text such as this one in here, so that's the title and that is the text of the post. If I copy that URL and place it in the URL variable there, if I run this now, I'm going to get the body of the post printed out. So their close of are everything, this one in here. If you want to get the title, you want to apply dot title, run, and that is the title, and that is the text of the post. To get the comments, what you want to do is you want to iterate for comment in post.comments, and you want to print perhaps comment.body. So a comment, this has a list of comments, and a comment is an object which has a body attribute. So if you run that, you should get all the comments that users left. So if you want to see, for example, the length of the comments, post.comments, you should apply that. And because there are too many comments here in the terminal, we don't see the length, so I'm going to comment that, run again, so I see now down here. Yeah, so it's 193 comments. But if you look at here, then you see that there are 453 comments. But that is total comments, which are nested comments as well, such as this one in here. But top level comments are these ones. So that one is a top level comment. And then go down here. This one is a top level comment, and so on. So there are 193 such top level comments. So that should give you the top level comments. So that is how you can access Reddit and scrape information. For more details, you should look up at the Pro library documentation. It has more things you can do. So that's for now. In the next video, we're going to get the posts that were created during the last 24 hours on a particular subreddit. So let's do that in the next video. In this video, we will write a script which gets all the posts submitted by the user in the last 24 hours in a particular subreddit. In any subreddit, actually. But as an example, we will work on this subreddit. This subreddit is about blowing glass. So creating glass, which looks like this more or less, and I chose this subreddit because this has a relatively low number of submissions per 24 hours. So it's not a very popular subreddit, which means it's a good subreddit to experiment with. For example, we see that in the last 24 hours there are about 4 or 5 submissions by users. So we're going to check that if we also got these 4 or 5 submissions in our Python code. That way we can evaluate the accuracy of our script. So to do this, you need to have a Reddit account and also create an app in Reddit. I showed how to do that in the previous video. And also you need to create a Reddit instance using that class and putting all your data in here. I also showed this how to do in the previous video. So now what we need to do is this time we need to create a subreddit instance which comes from Reddit. So that variable comes here, dot subreddit. So this now gets as a string a subreddit. The subreddit is the name. As a string goes the title, the name of the subreddit. You can see it here, glass blowing, and you can also see it after the r/glass blowing. So glass blowing goes here, glass blowing. Then once we have a subreddit, we want to iterate for post in subreddit dot new. The new method will give us the new posts in that subreddit. So that will give us a list of posts. Then we need to apply a condition, something like if a post is in the recent 24 hours, then we print that out. So before we apply that, we first need to get the time, the current time, and the time when a submission was created. So let's first get the current time. Current time, a variable, is equal to date time dot UTC now. We also have the now method, but be aware that this method gives you the local time of your computer or of the REPL server, but UTC will give you the UTC time in the UTC system. So this is good when you are doing comparisons between different times, as we're doing now. And of course we need to import from date time, import date time. So that goes here. Now that's the current time. And what is the post created time or post time? That is post dot created. So the post is one of the posts in the subreddit, one of these submissions. That one, it will be this one also. And also be aware that there are ads. So this is an ad you see promoted here. This will not be included in the list of submissions because it is not a submission, it is an ad. So post time, post created. Let's try to print out current time and post time to see what we actually get. So run that. And this is the output. So current time is this one in here. And post time is this one. So they are in a very different format from each other. So this is like a timestamp in seconds. And these seconds are from 1st of January 1973. So it's still a timestamp, but it's in seconds and it starts from a particular point in time. We need to convert these two into a common format and then get the difference out of them. So I think it makes more sense to convert these into date time. To do that, so that is the post time. We get post created and then we put that post created as input of date time dot UTC from timestamp. So that is a method of datetime, which gets seconds as input and it returns this kind of format. So now if I run this again, we should see the same format. So that is the current time, and that is the time when the post was created. So there are many posts in here. For each pair, we need to calculate the delta. So the difference between the time when the post was created and the current time, so that we check if 24 hours have passed or not. So let's say delta time is equal to current time minus post time. And let's print that out. So this is what we get. Yeah, I start from here. So the most recent post was made before 4 hours and 54 minutes and 34 seconds. Then another post was submitted before 8 hours and 25 minutes ago, more or less. 10 hours, 12, and then we have 1 day and so on. So let's filter them out by getting only the posts that are earlier than 24 hours. For that we need an if conditional. So if delta time is less or equal to 24 hours, but be careful, how do we represent 24 hours? You cannot just say 24 like that, right? Because you want to compare a delta time type with a delta time type, but this is not a delta time type, this is an integer. So what you want to do instead is you need the same type of object. So for that we need to import from datetime, we need time delta. And then we can create a time delta object which has the same type as this object. So this object is created implicitly through the difference of 2 different timestamps, but still you get a time delta from that difference. So now we can say hours equals to 24. You see, this gets this hours argument, and it also has other arguments you can pass. So if you wanted a more accurate delta, such as 24 hours, 1 hour, 2 minutes and 3 seconds, you could do that by adding arguments here, like minutes equals to that and so on. But for us, in this case, is 24 hours. So if that is the case, then print post. But post, as you know, simply gives you that idea of the post. So perhaps you want the title and then you want self text, the body of the post, the content. So you run that. But first, maybe you want to uncomment that there and to run again. So this is what we get. So we have 1 post here, 2 in here, which corresponds with these. So another one is the title of this and the title of that post. So another one, this one. Now, if you want to save this into a list instead, you'd have to create an empty list before the loop. So like output or just posts 24 hours, like that. That is equal to an empty list. And then instead of printing these titles and self-text out, you want to refer to post 24 hours dot append and keep adding perhaps tuples of post.title and post.self-text. And of course you can keep adding information that you want to be included, like post created and so on. And then you can print out the entire post 24 hours list and see what format we get. So there we go. And so the list starts here. You see the square parenthesis, and then we have the title, so the first tuple with the title of the first post. There's no content in that post, just a picture. And then you have the timestamp in seconds. So if you want to convert that into date time, in humor-friendly date time, you want to apply again that method to post created. Or just say here post time and run again. So small tongue, and that's the date time. And of course you can also further convert it into a string using the strf time method. And so on. You see that we got these posts in a list. And of course you could go even further and store them in a text file. And we can do that by opening a text file with open output.txt in write mode as file, and we indent all this for loop under the with context manager. So for posts in subreddit, if delta time is less than 24 hours, then we say under the conditional here indented, we say file write. And we write an f string perhaps, so which has post.title, a break line, post.self text. Let me expand this. Perhaps a double break line, and then we'll start the next title and post. So we don't need to print that out this time, just run. This is output.txt. And that's the results in a txt file. So the title, and it doesn't have any content. Then we have the title of the next post, its content in here, the title of the other post, and so on. So that's the complete code for this lecture. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later. In this video, we will create a new post via Python. So for that, I have the Reddit object instance and a subreddit object instance as well. This time I'm going to use this subreddit to create a new post here. It's called Pythons and Lot. It's a subreddit where people can post through their bots. So you can also do this with other subreddits, such as with a glass blowing subreddit, but let's be a good citizen and post in this subreddit here, which is designed to post these kinds of test submissions, so to say. So Pythons and lot, that is what you have to enter in here. And lot, Pythons and lot, that is the subreddit. Now let's prepare a title for the new post, such as this is my new Python bot submission. And the content will be something like, hey, I'm just trying out Python. Actually, I would suggest to make this a multi-line string. So 3 double quotes there, delete that, 3 double quotes in here. Hey, I'm just trying out Python. This is my first post. Then the way to do a submission is by referring to the subreddit where you want to submit, and then use the submit method with title and content. Or you could also say title equals to title and self text equals to content. So the first argument is title, the second is self text, that is content. And that title here is this title here. And that's it. So just run. Now let's ignore this error at the moment and just check for our submission. So I'll reload this page and go to new to filter by new posts. And if you still don't see your post, you should go to your profile and see the new posts in there. So yeah, this is my post in Python's Antlot. So it could take a while until your post is shown on the subreddit. Now, if you want to get rid of this error message, you should do what this is suggesting. So set Reddit validate on submit equal to true. So under the declaration of the subreddit, then you say subreddit dot validate on submit equals true. Run again. This will post the same post, but it didn't happen because you see what we get looks like you've been doing that a lot. Take a break for 12 minutes before trying again. So Reddit does have a limit on how often you can post, you can create new submissions on subreddits. So they do this to avoid abuse with their website. So that is a limitation that you need to consider when working with Reddit. As you see in this case, we have to wait 12 minutes. So anyway, that is the code to create new submissions on Reddit. Next, I'll show you how to create new comments, how to reply in existing submissions, existing posts. So see you in the next videos. Hi, in this video we will write a script which goes through the posts of the last 2 days in a subreddit. And then the script looks for a specific word in the title of each post. And if it finds that word, it replies to that particular post. For example, we could write a bot which looks for posts about Christmas, and if the bot finds that the title contains the word Christmas, then the bot says Merry Christmas. So let's do that. We first need to import the Pro library and then create a Reddit instance, as I'm doing in here. Then we said that we want to look through the posts of a subreddit, so we need to create a subreddit. Let's say I'm working on the glass blowing subreddit. Then we want to loop over for post in subreddit.new. So this gives us this page, so reddit.com/r/glassblowing/new, which you get when you press that new button there to sort posts by new. Although this doesn't matter much, because we will filter these by the last 48 hours anyway. So the code goes mostly like in the previous video. We create the current time with date time, from date time import date time. We also get the post time, so I explained these in the previous video, so you should watch that video if you didn't done so already. Then we calculated a delta, and then we had a conditional which checked if delta is less or equal to 24 hours. This time we're working on 48 hours, so 2 days. And then what we do is we have a list where we append these posts. This time we don't want to append anything in a list, we don't want to write anything in a file, so we remove that. What we want to do is we want to check if the word Christmas is in post.title. But be careful, because you should be lowering the title. So the title could be, for example, as you see, this is Christmas with a capital C. So you want to make the entire title lowercase, and then you can check for lowercase Christmas in the lowercase title. So if Christmas in post.title.lower, then we say post.reply. Hey, Christmas is coming. Now, I'll comment this out. Before I do that, I'll first check if I got the actual post title correctly. So let me run this. I also forgot to import time delta. Import that, run again. Yeah, so we got the correct post as we see in the title. Now let's try to add a reply to that post. So run, and let's check now this post. Yep, hey, Christmas is coming. So my comment is here. It was added just now. And that is how you add comments to a post in Reddit. If you want to add comments to existing comments, then what you need to do is, instead of that, you want to iterate for comments in post.comments. And if, let's say, the word is coming in comment.body, so comment.body gives you the actual text of the comment. If that word is in a comment, so for example, in this comment that we just added, lowercase, so let's just lower the case of the comment, then we do comment.reply. Yeah, it's coming. Run that. And of course, we do have this limitation of Reddit that we have to wait now 7 minutes. So I'll try after 7 minutes. Yeah, so 7 minutes have passed, so let's try this again. It seems to be working, let's check. Yeah, so this is my comment added to an existing comment in a post in a subreddit. So that is the complete code on how to reply to a post and how to reply to a comment in a post on Reddit. Thank you, I'll see you later.